All right, guys, so we are working on the first gen some more. I'm doing some engine stuff today. I got these pipes welded up. I didn't film it. I was just screwing around and I just didn't feel like filming it. So I got that all TIG welded. It is not my best work, but it will hold her together. So anyways, so that's all done. I don't know whether I'm gonna keep these clamps in there or not. We'll see how it works out. For now, that's how it's gonna stay, but we'll see. Not just 100% sure if I like those ones or not. Anyways, we are going to do some valve train stuff. So the nozzles came, Weston from Infinite Performance got my nozzles done. So I have my nozzles to put on the injectors. So what we're going to do is I had put these injectors in here because I was going to hook the lines up and just use these injectors. We're going to pull these back out again because I'm still waiting for the lines because I'm a hammerhead and ordered the wrong lines. But, well, I shouldn't say that. I changed my mind on the cylinder head and just didn't put two and two together. So I guess we'll just build another one of these with a common rail head. Anyways, so we're gonna pull those injectors out and put these nozzles on those injectors because I've already went through those injectors. We will have to probably reset the pot pressure, but that's okay. But right now I am working on the rockers. So I have trunnions to put in the rockers, and then I also have bridges. I'll show you those in a minute. Both of those being manted. But I wanted to show you guys a little bit about rockers and all that type of stuff, especially you guys that are interested in 24 valve common rail stuff, is anytime that you have your rockers off, you want to pay attention to what the rockers look like inside. I'm just seeing if I can find one that's got a bad score in it. I might have to see about finding one that's got a bad score in it. These ones aren't too bad. But if you look at inside there, and if I don't know whether you guys will be able to see in there real great, basically in that bottom lower piece there, what happens is they get scored up really bad and they'll actually start binding up, and you can have, the 5.9 common rails were really bad. The trunnions were soft in them, and also the rockers were soft, and they seem to gull up really bad. So these ones aren't too bad, but you can see the wear mark in it. So you need to kind of go in there and clean stuff up. Now, how we do it is a little bit different than how most people do it. I'll show you how you can do it at home. There's more than one way, but we use the rod hone. So basically what I do on the rod hone is I take the rocker, this is a stone, this is a hone, and we put it on there and we just scrub it back and forth, usually 2, maybe 3 strokes. These ones are not very bad. I obviously picked good ones for myself, or ones that I had. But the reason that I do that, one is you want to make sure there's no high spots on anything, and then also 2 is I want to put a bit of a crosshatch in there because the crosshatch will hold oil. So you tend to get better oiling when that happens because these are just machined. They don't put a crosshatch in them. So even when I buy brand new ones, let's say I'm putting an engine together as a complete engine for a customer, I will always take the brand new ones and just give them a quick scrub just to give them that crosshatch in there to make, it just carries oil better. Same idea on the cylinders and stuff like that. They just carry oil better, and I prefer to make them better, not worse. So we are going to, I'll throw in a time lapse. I will do that quickly. Then I'll pull the trunnions out and the bridges. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll probably go do the injector side of things. I got a couple other things I'm doing to my 3/4 ton, the 95. I'm going to do one video on doing that. The other video, I'm not going to show that because that's not something for YouTube. But we are going to do that. So let's get after doing this, and yeah, see you in a bit. Rubbed up, and what I wanted to show you, so you seeing how I do it. And basically what you're trying to do is, if you look at the rocker, there's one that still has a mark in it here. So if you look in there, you can kind of see, hopefully, you'll see where there's the dark spot still, and that's actually from gulling. But we know now that that's actually below the surface because we honed it, right? So that will actually just hold oil. That won't hurt anything. You can still reuse these. They're just fine. But something else you want to do is you want to make sure you take an air blower, and there's a hole right here and then also a hole right here. You want to blow through those, make sure there's no water, debris, or any of that. Make sure air will go through both of them, because if they don't, you won't get oil on this cup and it'll kill it, and you also won't get oil coming out of here to oil your push rod, because there's a path for that on both of them. So I scrubbed all these, but I wanted to show you guys how to do it. So if you buy a trunnion kit, or if you're just doing it, you can do it like this. Basically, you just have this comes with the trunnion kit from Manton, and it just has a piece of Scotch-Brite that goes on it. You shove this Scotch-Brite on, and you literally just put it in here and go through it. It goes through it a few times, and it'll polish it up for you. And that's basically what they just want you to see about the high spots. Now, the only thing with this, in my opinion, if they're not gulled really bad, this works just fine. If there is some pretty bad gulling on it, myself personally, either you want, which I realize most guys don't, and if you don't have somewhere to take them, most machine shops probably wouldn't charge you that much to do it. If somebody brought me these bare and they were already clean, I'd probably charge like $65, $70 to clean them up. So it's not astronomically expensive. But what you can do is take a brake cylinder hone. Buy these from, you're pretty cheap. Auto Parts Place, Princess Auto, Harbor Freight. You can buy a cheap one of these. And what you do is just put it inside there. This one's haggard, so I've used it for a bunch of stuff. So you can't do it if the stones are all smashed. This one's all smashed from me doing things I shouldn't have been doing with it. But you just put it in there on your drill, cover it with WD-40, and you're just going to want to spin it in there, and it will take the high spots off. This will do a better job taking the high spots off than the Scotch-Brite, in my opinion. If you can get a longer one of these, one that the stone is about this long, but it's small, it's better, because if you can go into there and just move it back and forth a little bit, that's way better. Because if you look at this one, the stone isn't quite wide enough. The stone isn't quite wide enough to reach all the way through. It's just, so if you can get one, you can buy them. They're about, I'd say 2-inch wide or 2-inch long stone, but they still go really small to go back and forth. Like I said, you can buy these all kinds of different places. That's personally how I would do it. But I have, like I said, the rod hone, so I do it like that, not like this. But you can just polish them up. They're not too bad with the Scotch-Brite. The only thing with the Scotch-Brite, like I said, that I don't like is that it doesn't take high spots down. So, you look at that, it looks pretty good, right? It doesn't look too bad as far as that goes. I'm gonna touch it on the hone and just see what it looks like. Like, it actually looks really nice on there, but we'll see what it looks like after I touch it here. This one actually cleaned up really nice. We clean it off a little bit here. And then for sure, this one actually come out really nice. And then for sure it doesn't have any high spots in it. So actually I'm gonna use this one because I got one here that, which one was it? This one. Oh, actually that one's not that bad. This one's worse. That there's still some gulling in it. You can see it inside this one where it still has some gulling inside it. And that will work. Just is that you don't have all of the metal surface that you potentially could have. So I'm gonna swap that out for a different one here. I have a bunch of them, so I might even go through and just kind of go through a few different ones here and see if I can find some nicer ones. So anyways, we are going to just talk about trunnions a little bit. Now, the factory trunnion is definitely just not as hard a material. And then these are coated afterwards. So this is a much nicer piece. And they've also put an oil relief in it, a different oil relief in it. If you look at it, you can see where there's like a little groove right there, which adds oiling to the whole thing. And then they also made this groove larger for oiling the rest of it. So these are much nicer pieces, but they're not the cheapest thing in the world. So we're gonna put all these together, and you just wanna make sure that you go in there, make sure they all move nice, because if they don't, that's bad. Then you also do wanna lube them, make sure they are lubed. And then I have the trunnion, or the bridges. And for you guys that have never run, if you run a bigger valve spring, I recommend running a better bridge, because these bridges don't bend, and these ones do bend. You will get deflection out of these ones. I've monkeyed around with it a little bit, but we'll deal with that, or we'll talk more about that one day. But I do really like these heavier duty bridges. Like I said, they're not a cheap upgrade, but they're not, if you're looking for a performance, nothing's cheap. So We are going to throw all of these trunnions in and assemble the rockers. And then we're gonna go do the injectors so that we can put these in. Oh, I have push rods. We're running man and push rods as well. Heavy duty 7/16 heavy wall push rods. So these will be more than sufficient for what we got going on and for our spring rate and all that stuff. So these will be good. So we'll get this all, I'm gonna assemble all these quick, and then we are going to go upstairs and do the injectors. So, all right, I'm gonna throw you back in the time lapse, do that, then I'll meet you guys upstairs. All right guys, so I got the injectors all done. We got the certain pop pressure that Weston wanted set. So we got that set. These are 6x20s with extra lift. So all the fuel that that pump will put out, these will put out. So that was the idea behind it. So we are gonna put these back in. I'm gonna put the washers back on. And we are going to install these. But that's probably a bad spot to put those. I'm gonna drop them. And I actually double checked all of them. You would have seen that in the time lapse. I double checked all of them for the pop pressure. And I didn't have to do that. It's just that I thought, well, I got them all within half a bar. So probably way more accurate than they really need to be. But that's what I wanted, so that's what we did. So I'm gonna get the rest of these in there. We're gonna get the push rods in, the rockers on, and I'll probably set up the valve lash. And then probably call it a day. But we're gonna get, I'll put you guys in the time lapse and we'll go ahead and do that. All right guys, got the rockers on, valve set, all that stuff. I'm just gonna put a little bit of goo in the top of the rockers so that the lube doesn't drop down on us, because it's gonna be another week or so before we get this thing running. All right, I'm not fixing the valve cover on there yet because I don't know what valve cover I'm gonna leave on there to start with. And got to get it wiggled the right way. So valve cover on. We're probably going to have to monkey with that a little bit because I don't like that, having to screw around like that trying to get it in there, because that's going to chip the coating when we put coating on it, and first world problems. So that's as far as we're going on this thing. Oh, actually, I might put the wastegate on there. Yeah. All right, we'll call her good for this one, or for now, and we'll see you later in the video.
Hey guys, check out the merch store, cutteruprob.com, link in the description, for all the new merch that I just dropped. Help out the channel.